y'all, here we are in beautiful Branson, Missouri. I'm at my local Flavor Kitchen and I'm going to cook a chicken pot pie for you today. This is my version of chicken pot pie. I'm sure everybody has their own version, but this is what I came up with. I had never made one before. So about 5 years ago, I decided to make one in my little restaurant in Oklahoma. And I thought, well, that would be a good special, but I'd never made one before, so I just kind of came up with this on my own. So I start off with my potatoes and carrots, and I put them in a ceramic pot. So I cut all of my potatoes up. I like to get the little round potatoes, the little new potatoes. Now you can use any kind of potato, but that's the ones I like to do because it kind of makes it colorful. So this is what I do. These are already done, but I just want to show you what it looks like. So I put my potatoes and my carrots in here with some butter, water, a little bit of salt and pepper, and some parsley flakes. And I just cover it to the top of my vegetables, and then I cover it with this lid and I cook it for about 30 or 45 minutes on about medium heat until they're soft and tender. Okay, and then I do my chicken different ways. It just depends. If I have time, I put it in a crock pot and let it slow cook in butter and salt and pepper. Or I can buy a rotisserie chicken and pull it all off the bone. That's really tasty, skin and all. Or you can just get some chicken breasts, which I've done tonight, and just boil them for about 30 minutes in some water, butter, and salt and pepper. And that's what I've done. I just kind of diced it up. And so the first thing I'm going to do to get started is make a roux. So I try to make this as easy as possible, but I'm going to show you. I have this handy little chopper, and if you don't have one of these, just use a food processor or a knife. But I take some portobello mushrooms and I pop the stems right off of them, wash them off, pop the stems, put them on a paper towel and let them dry really good. And then I put them in this little chopper that I love. This is from Pampered Chef. If you don't have one, you gotta get one because these are awesome. You can do onions, you can do everything in this little chopper. So I just kind of break up the big ones, and I'm just gonna show you how easy this is. I've already done a few, but I wanna show you. You just pop that in there and then you just do it manually. Just like this. It'll do onions, it'll do anything you need to chop up. It is amazing. So that comes from Pampered Chef. I love all Pampered Chef stuff. I try to get everything they have, but this is what it looks like when we're done. Just like that. So I'm going to show you how to make my roux, and come right over here and I'll show you. Okay, so now I'm going to make the base. This is the roux that I'm going to put into my vegetable mixture. So I've got a half a cup of butter in here that I've already kind of browned, and then I poured all of my chopped up mushrooms in here. And you didn't know that I put mushrooms in my
No, I didn't know.
chicken pot pie. So it's makes it kind of rustic and hearty tasting, and nobody even knows that you put them in there. Nobody has ever noticed that. So I've got this going, and I'm going to get it, it's on high right now, and then I'm going to put a pretty generous teaspoon of this as chicken base. Now you can use chicken bouillon, little cubes, but you can find this, I got this at Sam's, but you can get it at the grocery store, but it's just chicken base, and you keep it in the refrigerator, and I put a pretty good helping of that in there, and it'll give it a good chicken flavor. Now I also have some leftover roast that I had in the freezer, and I'm thawing it out because I'm going to make a roast pot pie as well, because I know I'm going to have extra, and I knew I had that in the freezer, so I'm thawing it out. And it doesn't matter that I have this chicken in here, chicken base in here, it'll still be good. So I get. So
you could use ground beef or any maybe leftover turkey after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you can use anything you want. And you can use any kind of vegetable that you want. Like if you want to put onions, like if you want to dice up some onions in here and saute those, that would be good. But I use potatoes and carrots, green beans, and frozen corn. Always, always, always use frozen corn. Never use canned corn. I hate canned corn. I think it tastes awful. Fresh frozen corn tastes a little bit fresher, so always use frozen corn if you can. So you're going to get this going, and then you're going to add about a cup of flour. You can eyeball it. I think there's a cup and a half in here, but just go ahead and do about a cup. And then you're going to get it to make in like a paste. I use a roux for almost every one of my casseroles that I try to make. It just just makes it taste like you put a lot of love into it. So you're gonna get this kind of thick, looking like a paste, and then you're gonna take about 4 cups of milk and you're gonna slowly pour that in, and you're just gonna whisk it. Woo, I'm making a mess. Whisk it as you go. Usually don't make a mess like that. I must be nervous. So about 4 cups of milk. And this is going to take a few minutes to, just look at that. Just messy. All right, so take about 4 or 5 minutes on high, and you just keep whisking it around and around until it gets to a nice, creamy, beautiful consistency. And that is what we're going to pour over all of our vegetables. And this is what's going to make it yummy. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and cook this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to put everything together. Okay, so I've cooked my roux, and it took about 4 or 5 minutes until it was nice and creamy, not too thick. Now, if you happen to get it too thick, just start adding a little more milk, and it'll go ahead and not be as thick as you need it. But this is about how I want it. I want it to where it's just like gravy, just like that. So if you get it, don't be afraid to add stuff. You can't be afraid of it. You just, if you get it too thick and you start cooking it too fast, just start adding a little more milk and just start whisking, and it'll start getting a little bit looser for you. So, all right, so I'm gonna pour this in over my vegetables. And so this right here is gonna be my, this is all of my vegetables in here, and then I'm gonna add my green beans and my corn.
I've noticed you're using canned green beans and not frozen.
Well, I just feel like canned green beans aren't that big a deal, but canned corn, ugh. I don't know what I have against canned corn. I don't know what the problem is. So I'm going to do about 3 cans of green beans in here. And remember, you can do anything you want. Celery, anything you want. Peas. But the reason I didn't do peas is because, you know why I didn't do peas, right?
Yes.
Because we had a little issue with peas.
Not a big fan.
I made some tuna casserole one time, and I was so proud of this tuna casserole because I really doctored it up. And Greg came home and saw it, and he goes, "What, did you put a bunch of garbage in there?" And I said, "Okay, well, we're not having tuna casserole tonight." Because it had peas in it.
I'm a meat and potatoes guy.
Anyway, we're not putting peas in this, so.
Not meat and potato and peas, just meat and
Okay,
potato.
all right. But you do like this.
That looks good.
Yes, it's good. All right, look at that. Doesn't that look yummy? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, since I'm gonna make a little bit of it with the beef too, I'm not gonna put my chicken in here. I'm gonna put it in my pan. But you can make your own crust if you want to make your own pie crust. Have at it. But I'm not making it. I'm gonna leave it to the professionals. Good old Pillsbury makes the best crust as far as I'm concerned. So I'm gonna leave it to the professionals and let Pillsbury make my crust. So I always put these in to-go pans so that I can give them to people. So when you make this, make a bunch and then put it in the freezer. You can freeze these. They freeze really good. Spray your pan, take your crust, put it in the bottom of the pan.
That reminds me, my grandma had her name wrote on every dish,
Oh, yeah.
every plate
From
she
church.
had for church events. And
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story about church events. When you have a potluck dinner at church, you know, I don't just eat anybody's food. So I would go up to the potluck dinner and I'd be like, "Oh, this is a cute dish," and see whose name was on the bottom. See if I was going to eat it or not. Because, you don't want to eat just anybody's food. So, all right. So I'm going to put this in my pan here. And I'm going to add my chicken. You know what? I'm going to use this bowl here because I'm having a hard time with this stupid spoon. Here we go. Fill it up pretty good, pretty hearty there. And then get my trusty glove out here so I can mix it in. So take your chicken. Now, if you're not making, you can put it in this pan if you're going to do all chicken, but since I'm going to add some beef to that later, I don't want to mix it in. So just mix your chicken all in there really good. And then make extras because somebody's always needing a casserole. Somebody's always needing something for dinner. If you know somebody who's busy, a busy mom, somebody who works all the time, call them up and tell them that you have something for supper and put some foil on the top, and then all you have to do is say pop in the oven at 350 for however long it takes. I love to do that for people. I love to make casseroles and call people up and tell them if I know they've had a surgery or if they've had a baby or something like that. So roll your crust out and kind of try to make it fit a little bit on this. I know they're round crust and you can do a pie pan if you want, but it works out just fine. Just fine. Kind of pinch the sides a little bit. Make them go down a little.
And this is one of those food items like chili or lasagna, where to me, if it sits overnight in the refrigerator, the leftovers are better.
Yes. Now, you can make an egg wash if you want, which is like an egg yolk and a little water, and you can brush it on the top of this crust. But I never do that because I ain't got time for that. So I just take my oil, my spray, and I spray it right over the top. And then I get my salt and pepper. Let me get my salt and pepper. And I just sprinkle it over the top. And when it bakes up, it just makes it so pretty and golden. And I bake this at 450 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. Just watch it. When your crust is nice and golden brown, it will be perfect. So, and then just take it out of the oven and serve it with a salad. But anyway, this is what it looks like. Chicken pot pie, or you can make beef pot pie or turkey pot pie or whatever you want to make. So that's what it looks like. So I'm going to make a few more of these up. I'm going to put some in the freezer for an emergency if I know somebody who needs it, but I am going to give a few of these away too to some of my good friends. So that's my chicken pot pie recipe. You can add, take away, whatever you want to do, but this is just the gist of it. But I feel like this roux that I make with the mushrooms, it just makes it real hearty tasting, real rustic, and I love it. It's delicious. So that's my chicken pot pie. Thank you.